So today we will complete the types of breakwater that we have been discussing. So we had seen in the last lecture about this widely used type of breakwater, that is the rubble mound breakwater, in which what you have is just huge boulders which are dumped into the sea or the water body wherever the breakwater is desired, and the dumping is carried out till the level is achieved such that the breakwater it surfaces above the water level and up to the desired height. Okay. So for that we had seen that we have different boulders of different sizes, and sizes as in different weight configurations, 30 ton, 20 ton, 2 ton, 15 ton, and so on. Okay. And basically you have two components of that breakwater. One is the core and another is the armor layer. Okay. So we had also seen the advantages and disadvantages, and at the end I told you that whatever are the next type of breakwater that we will see, those are most probably such that the disadvantage of this rubble breakwater, they have been tried to overcome these disadvantages, okay, to some extent, not 100%, but again, for every type of breakwater there are going to be some advantages and disadvantages, and the most suitable one you have to select based on your site conditions and requirement. So the next type in the heap and mound itself, heap and mound breakwater itself, is a concrete block mound. Now this is almost similar to the rubble mound. The only difference in is that rubble mound breakwater consisted of huge boulders. Now here instead of rubble, we have used concrete blocks. So you all know what a concrete block is. So rectangular concrete blocks are used. Now on the diagram on the right, what you see, two diagrams. So it is a typical example of a concrete block mound breakwater. Okay, so the first one on the top, if you see, so this right side, this portion, you will see predominantly you have concrete blocks which have been placed. Okay, so 20-ton blocks generally they are placed on the sea side. Okay, so heavy material is placed on the sea side, and then you can see on the left side what you have is a rubble, okay, stone rubble, and then again that stone rubble also weighs up to some tons, but less than your concrete block. Okay. So the main purpose of your breakwater is to break the forces of your waves. So whatever is the heavy material that we are using it at the seaside. Another combination of this concrete block mount breakwater you can have is the second figure which you see on the bottom side. So in this, the core what they have constructed, so this is made up of rubble, and then that rubble layer or the core, it is then topped up with the concrete blocks. Now again you can see the concrete blocks, the weight they have written 18 tons, okay, and the rubble it is up to 2 tons. So this is the second type in concrete mound breakwater. Okay. And now you might be wondering that why they have used rubble, because it's concrete block mount, so obviously they should use only concrete blocks. But as you know, if you compare the economical aspect of concrete blocks and rubble, so obviously the rubble is going to be much cheaper than the concrete blocks, given that it's available naturally. You have to just process it a bit, processing also as in just you have to break it down to sufficient sizes, whereas the concrete blocks you need to first do the designing of that concrete, mix it, cast the blocks, cure it, and then demold it and then place it on the site. So that obviously requires more time as well as money. So that's why concrete block mount, it is generally used in combination with your rubble breakwater. And this concrete blocks, you can also have it in odd shapes and sizes, not necessary that it's a rectangular or a cube. So you can have odd shapes as well, but in odd shapes then it is difficult to cast them, okay, due to that irregularity, and it becomes costly. And also, as I told you, one of the aspect in concrete block mount breakwater is that you have to transport those blocks somewhere from the factory or the yard site to the breakwater. So that also increases the cost. So in general, this concrete breakwater is a bit rare, you can say. It's not like it is not absolutely used, it is used, but a bit rare thing you can see. Then another type in your heap or mound breakwater is a rubble mound breakwater or rubble mound supplemented by concrete block. So now what here they have done is this is a combination type of breakwater. Combination as in, if you see at the diagram, the most interior part, it is a core and it is made up of rubble. Then again, what the armor you have, this armor layer and the secondary armor, all this is made up of rubble. And just the C side, what you have, this is the C side. So here the concrete blocks are used. Okay, they are arranged in such a way, and you can see then you also have some wall or pavement kind of structure which can be used on the top. Okay, so it looks like very similar to this, but only what difference we have is in this concrete block mount we were just dumping in that concrete blocks and the rubble together. Here what we are doing is we are trying to form a wall with a definite shape over here. Okay. So that's the difference between this concrete block mount breakwater and rubble mount supplemented by concrete blocks. So this is a proper combination you can have of rubble and concrete. And this is another variation in that itself, that you have a core, you have a armor, and then you have the concrete blocks which are placed on the C side. Okay. So again, if you see, they are pretty much arranged in a very systematic way. Now, that is because concrete blocks are expensive, they are difficult to transport and cast and all that thing. So that's why it is made sure that the economical aspect is maintained and the concrete blocks are not wasted. Okay. So instead of dumping it, they have just arranged. But now what happens is, due to this arrangement, okay, the gaps between the concrete blocks, they are very less. So we had seen this in the rubble or mound breakwater, where I had told you that we purposefully leave gaps between the rubble or the boulders, because when the wave breaks down the water, it will ingress into that gaps and then again go towards the sea. Okay. And also the pressure which is there from the bottom, that is relieved due to this gap. So in case of this rubble mound complemented or supplemented with concrete blocks, you are arranging your concrete blocks in a proper way. So that's why the uplift, there are chances that uplift pressure can come into picture and it will cause a failure. Okay. So accordingly, the maintenance strategy needs to be designed and implemented so that there is a regular check whether the toe of this breakwater, it is in a proper condition or not. Okay. So this is a typical view what you can see on the top. Okay. Now obviously the inner pictures or inner photographs will not get to see, you'll get to see whatever is on the top, but this is what it will look like, a rubble mound or a rubble mound breakwater supplemented by concrete blocks. So inside you have rubble, but on the top, whatever the surface you have, what you see over here, so this is all concrete blocks. Okay. And as I told you, here what you have, this area, the crown. Okay. So either it is a wall or it is a flat surface, so that you can access it. So you can use it for pedestrian movement or for vehicular movement also. Okay. So this is a typical photograph of the such type of breakwater. Then next in the or last type in the heap or mound breakwater is a rubble mound breakwater, but now it is supplemented by some patented blocks. So in the previous type, the name was almost same, that was rubble mound supplemented by concrete blocks. Now only difference is, previously in this type we had seen that there was a concrete blocks which were placed on one side or the sea side of the breakwater. Now, instead of that concrete blocks, we have some patented blocks. Now, what are these patented blocks? I'm sure almost everybody has seen them. So, if you have been to Marine Drive in Mumbai, or those who have not been there, but you might have seen photographs. So, you have such kind of structures on Marine Drive. Okay? So, these are nothing but the technical term for them is tetrapods. So, they are patented blocks which are made. Here you can see in the sketch, this is a tetrapod. And on Marine Drive, you can see on the seaside, the whole seaside, it is covered by this tetrapod. Now, again, what is the purpose of this tetrapod? The same as we use the rubble and concrete blocks, that they will be destroying the power or forces of the waves, and then avoid the water to go towards the land side or the harbor side. Now, at Marine Drive, what you have is you don't have a harbor, but you have land. And to prevent the forces of the waves affecting that land portion or the road over there, so they have placed tetrapods over there. Okay? So, like tetrapods, there are a lot of other shapes. If you see this sketch on the top right side, so you can see there is a tetrapod, there is a tetrahedron, some Toscan or Ajax. Now, all these are the names given by the companies which manufacture them. So these are patented products. So obviously the name is also given by the company. And if you see all these shapes, they are irregular shapes. It's not like a proper rectangle or a square or some circular or semicircular portion, but it's sort of a irregular shape, and that is because we are going to just dump these patented blocks also. We are not going to arrange them like the concrete blocks. So we are just going to dump them. So the interlocking between them or the stability of that dumped portion is going to depend on how well is the interlocking, and that for interlocking purpose you have such projections of those patented blocks outside. Okay? And these help in the interlocking process. So regarding this tetrapod, first it was developed in 1948, and generally they weigh about 25 tons or so, and they can remain stable on three legs. So actually it's a tetrapod, so it has four legs, but in the photograph you can see only three. The fourth one is behind this. Okay, so behind this portion you have a fourth leg, but it can remain stable on three legs as well. Okay. And hydraulically speaking, it is a rough one. Rough as in it is not smooth, or it is not going to allow the water to ingress towards the land side or harbor side. And the interlocking is good because it's an irregular shape, so the legs will take care of the interlocking. Okay. And on the bottom right, if you see, again these are some special blocks. Okay. Now here you can see they are just placed on the beach, but these can be also used on the site. Okay. This is another example where a special or patented block is used. So this is an example of an acropod. So acropod you saw over here. This was acropod. So such blocks are also used. Now you can see that it's somewhat a harbor side, and for breaking the forces of waves towards the land area, they have placed the acropods in such vast area. Okay. So the difference between this fourth type and third type is only that here what you have or what you see in this photograph is concrete blocks. Instead of this concrete blocks, if I just place those tetrapods or acropods or Ajax, any of those patented stone, so I'll get this category as rubble mount supplemented by patented blocks. The rest all of the things remain same. That is, it has a core, it has an armor layer on all the three sides, and then you have the patented stones on the seaside. So this is the seaside. So in case of breakwater, it is always good to write this, which is the seaside and which is the land or the harbor side. So that will give a clear idea about the understanding of your concept of breakwaters. So this is with the first type of breakwater, that is heap or mound type breakwater. The second type that we have is mound with a superstructure or composite breakwater. Okay. Now these breakwaters, composite breakwaters, they have a dual role. The first role is to break the obvious role, or the primary role is, you can say, to break the effect of the waves, and the secondary role is to provide us a platform or a surface over which you can then have some secondary activity. Okay. As in, you can use it as a jetty, or we will see what a jetty is in the next lectures, but it can be used as a jetty. It can be used for transferring the pedestrians from the ships to the land side. Okay. So that walking surface can be provided. So that is the difference in the, or that is nothing but the composite breakwater. So in the photograph or the diagram, what you see over here, you can see it's a rubble filled material. Okay. And you have the slopes, different slopes over here. Okay. And also on the sea side, you have some concrete blocks. Okay. And then instead of exact trapezoid, what they have done is this top portion, they have just widened the area by providing such platforms and some parapet wall. So this parapet wall will also restrict the effect of waves affecting this platform, and over this platform then there can be any movement of material or vehicles or pedestrians. This is another type of, or another way in which you can have a composite breakwater. So again, you have a heap of rubble, then you have a wall constructed, a concrete wall with concrete coping, and on the sea side again you have such concrete blocks which are placed. Okay. So now you see in this type what they have done is they have utilized the concept of heap or mound breakwater, in that rubble is also used, the concrete blocks are also used, and they have tried to provide a platform which is sufficient enough or wide enough to be used. So if you see the dimensions also, so you have something 11 meters and 30 meters. So it's quite sufficient width, which can be used for any purposes of transferring material, cargo, pedestrians from one place to another. So if you, anybody of you have been to jetties in Mumbai or in Konkan or in Goa mainly, so when they transfer the people from one place, one bank to another bank of the river, or one shore or another shore of the sea, so they transfer them to the jetty, and from that jetty then they go on towards the land area. So these kind of breakwater, composite breakwaters, that can be used as a jetty as well. Okay. But generally jetties, again, they have a bit more height than your breakwater. Breakwater, very rarely, or not rarely, the height over the water surface of the breakwater is not that high. It's just in a few meters, 6 to 10 meters, you can say. But a jetty is a bit higher than that, just to avoid the effect of high tides on the jetty platform, because that platform is going to be used by the people. There is going to be movement of people. So this is a virtual present representation of a composite breakwater. So again, as I was saying, that here you see this is the seaside over which you have the rubble. Now in this case, they have used rubble, not the concrete blocks, but anyways, they have protected the seaside, and on the interior side, or maybe the harbor side or what, you can have this kind of a platform which can be used for any purposes. And then in between, you see this is the parapet wall that I was talking about. Okay. So this is nothing but your composite breakwater. Then the third type, what you have is upright wall breakwater. Now from the name itself, you will get the what is this breakwater, that it's an upright wall, just like a retaining wall that you have, or what you have studied in geotechnical engineering, whatever is the retaining wall. So sort of the same structure is there in this upright wall breakwater also. And the photograph on the right, what you see, it's from a port in Italy. So This whole structure, it is made up of concrete, and then it acts as a wall, or it looks like a wall, and it is serving the purpose of a breakwater. So it is specially suited where the sites are already sheltered and it's not reliable in heavy seas, because one of the failure you have seen related to the tsunami, that was a kind of a upright wall breakwater, and in case of heavy seas, what happens is the main disadvantage is that it is a continuous wall, so there is no gap in between. So we were talking about that your wave, when it disintegrates, when you break down that wave by placing some breakwater, so it is always beneficial that you have gaps in that breakwater, so that whatever is the water which is breaking down, it all again goes back to the sea. Okay? And if that's not the case, then there is a lot of lateral forces on this breakwater when the wave breaks down, and that can cause failure of this kind of upright wall. So it is generally suited in sheltered sites only. Sheltered sites as in there is already land on three sides, something like this, what we had seen in case of Mumbai, and then there you can have such kind of a breakwater over here. Okay? And it is not reliable for heavy seas. Also, the depth is not great because you need to have a firm foundation. You can see it's sort of a retaining wall. The cross section exactly looks like a retaining wall. So you need to have a firm foundation. And in sea, that kind of firm foundation is very difficult to find. And also the sea bed, it should be resistant to erosion, because we are saying that we are going to lay the foundation on the seabed. So if it is being eroded by the actions of waves, so that foundation is not going to sustain for a longer time, and nor your upright wall breakwater. So this has very specific and very limited application as compared to the first two types. The first two types are widely used, that is the rubble mound breakwater or the composite breakwaters. Both are used for on a wide scale. But the third type, this one, it is used at a very limited locations wherever you have sheltered sites. And the fourth type, that is the special breakwater. Now, this special breakwater is something that it is rarely seen, very rarely seen. You will not find, or you will hardly find actual breakwaters which are constructed out of this three types, subtypes. You will find this floating type. Okay, within these three types, also within the floating type, hydraulic and pneumatic, you will find that mostly floating type is preferred, and you can see some photographs also in some cases. But the hydraulic and pneumatic type, it is generally not seen, or it is, you can say, a theoretical concept what you have. So when I explain this, you will come to know that why it is a theoretical concept. So first coming to the floating type. Now the very basic thing that we have is, what we want to do is we want to break the waves. Okay, and we can do this, or we can break the waves either by having a perfect vertical barrier. So due to that, your waves are going to break, or you can have, like we had in rubble mound breakwater, that you can have some stones or huge boulders or concrete blocks placed, and then you can break your waves. So now all this we have to do, but we have to keep that breakwater floating as in we don't want a exact vertical barrier. Okay? We want this floating type, or this floating type of breakwater, because the area is all, again, the limitation is that the area is again a protected one, and just you have to again for further minimize the effect of waves. So for that you can go for this floating type. So the very basic or the crude type of floating type of breakwater what you can have is, if suppose this is the shore area. Okay, I am showing you the plan. So this is the shore area, and what you see, the breakwater from the top, it is something like this. Just give me a few minutes so that I can draw the sketch. So in the plan, you will see something like this now in the initial stage, you will not get the idea that what it is actually like. So if I draw a section of this, okay, if I cut out a section of this, okay, and I'll draw the sectional view over here. So the section, it looks something like this. You have a seabed. This is your seabed. Okay. Then what you have is solid planks, okay, which are known as bulkheads. Okay. So these are the solid planks, which are known as bulkheads. Okay. And now these bulkheads, they are joined together by help of some struts. Now you know what a strut is, just like you have in the truss, whatever are the members. So in truss also you have studied that there is a member called strut. So same way you have strut over here. It is nothing but some steel sections by means of which there is a bulkhead on both the sides. Okay. So this is nothing but you can assume that bulkhead, just if you want to visualize, so visualize it is a very thick plywood, say 1 meter thick plywood. Okay, just to visualize. So it's that 1 meter thick plywood, and then you have two such plywoods, 1 meter thick, and then in between they are joined, or they are kept together by placing some channels in between, okay, or steel channels or steel angles, and that forms the strut. So only the channels, they will occupy some area, and the rest of the thing, it will be empty. So whatever is a white space what you see between the struts, so that will be empty. And now the next thing is that we have to make this breakwater float on your water body. So for that purpose, we cannot just throw this assembly into the sea. You will say that okay, if we just throw this into the sea, that will also float. That's correct, but we want to keep it floating, but also we want to keep it intact, almost at a same location. Okay, so it should sway. If this is the waves, so due to waves, it is going to sway because we are not fixing it firmly, but it will not displace from its original position a lot. Okay, maybe there will be a deviation of few meters here and there, left and right, but it will not go deep into the sea floating. So for that, what we need to do is we need to anchor these bulkheads, and that is done with the help of ropes. Okay, so these are the anchoring ropes. So these ropes are not the usual ropes that you use it in your household things, but these ropes are very heavy. They are again of a few diameters or few meters diameter. So they are generally used for mooring your ships or tying your ships to the port and docks. So that kind of heavy ropes are used, and also they are such that due to contact with water, they are not going to become loose or anything like that. They are very solid and sturdy. So those ropes will hold together this strut at a particular location. Okay? And obviously, when the wave hits this kind of breakwater, so now here you have a solid plank or a bulkhead, and whatever is the water which will splash or that wave, even if it splashes, so we have made this strut section hollow. So whatever is the water, it will again go back into the sea, and the harbor side, or this is the harbor or the land side, so this will remain safe from the effect of your waves. Okay, so this is the harbor side, this is the sea side. So this is nothing but your floating type. Now this is a very crude or very basic type of or very basic floating type breakwater. But nowadays what is done is you have a concrete box which is a floating type. So in floating type itself, you have a concrete box breakwater which is floating in nature. Okay. Now you will say how concrete floats. So that concrete is not actually a solid concrete. The lining is concrete, but the inner side or inner area or volume, it is kept as hollow. Okay. So an example for that, this is what the structure in the yellow color circle, what you see. So this is that floating type of breakwater that I am talking about. So this is a marina harbor. Marina harbor, now you know what it is. It is the place where all the private yachts and boats, they can be parked. So this is a marina harbor, and to protect that marina harbor, you have this floating type of breakwater. Okay. So again, it's in Italy, and it looks something like this. So you see, this is the box, and maybe it extends, or this box, it continues a few meters inside as well into the water. But on the top, you can see only this much thickness or height, you can say, and it is hollow. So if I draw a cross section of it, so it will look something like this, that you have a concrete lining kind of thing, and then this part is hollow inside. Okay. So due to that hollow nature, this box, it will float. Though concrete has weight, it is heavier than water, but then the dimensions are selected in such a way that it creates a buoyancy forces, and then it floats on your water. Okay. And again, now you can tie these concrete blocks with those ropes so that it is not displaced anywhere far away. So in this figure also, what you see, so you will not see a straight line, and also you'll see that there are few gaps in between this concrete blocks as well. That is because we are intending that the wave, it should break down, but it should not displace your breakwater to a large extent. Okay. So due to that, it is always good to have a bit of gaps in your breakwater. So this is another type you can have in the floating type itself. So one is this way. This is the very old method, you can say, to provide a floating breakwater. But nowadays, what you have in floating type is a concrete box type of breakwater. Now, this is a bit common in the European countries, mainly in case of marina harbors or small harbors where you don't have a lot of ships or a lot of big ships, or the water is also fairly calm enough. And here also in this photograph, you can see this is the seaside. So you can see a lot of small waves and ripples over here, but this is the harbor side over here, and the water is almost calm on this side. Okay. Then the second type, or the second and third type, both are almost similar. So the second is hydraulic type or hydraulic floating breakwater, and the third is pneumatic floating type breakwater. So again, I'll quickly draw the sketch for this. So this is the side view that you are looking into. Okay, so this is the arrangement what is there for a hydraulic special type of breakwater, that you have an overhead tank. This OHWT is nothing but an overhead water tank somewhere on the land side. Okay, so maybe there is a small hillock on the land just besides the beach or the interface of land and water, and then it's a huge over tank that you overhead water tank that you can have, and then you take out a pipeline. So this is this blue color pipe what you see. So this is the pipe which is supplying water. Okay. And this pipe, it goes below the water surface, and it is almost placed on the bed. So what you see over here, these brown color blocks, so these are nothing but the floats over which your pipe is fixed. Okay, and those floats are immersed inside water. Okay, so maybe it is placed on the bed itself, or they are somewhere in between the bed and the water level, but it is below the water level. Okay, and then what you have is this pipe, water pipe that you have nozzles fitted on the top side. So this red color rectangles that you see, these are nothing but nozzles. And what is done now, we know that the wave is going to hit the land side in such a way. So these are the waves what I have drawn in these arrows, blue color arrows with circular arrows. So these are the waves. And now what we are doing is from this overhead water tank, the water will be supplied to these nozzles, and then you have another, or you have an arrangement in that itself, that through this nozzle the water will be forced upwards. So just like a fountain. So you all have seen a fountain. So in fountain what happens, the water, it is pumped in opposite direction, opposite to the gravity, and then you get that sprinkling or the different shapes of that or forms of that fountain. So in similar way, here also the water what you have in this overhead water tank, that is just thrown in the upward direction opposite to gravity in some force. Okay, so this force is a lot of force, and this force is sufficient enough to intercept these wave. So you can assume, if I draw force diagram, so the force of this wave Fw, it is in right direction suppose, and the force of the water from the nozzle, so this is Fn. Okay. So this Fw force, it is interrupted by this force from the water coming out from the nozzle, which is under a very high pressure, and then due to that, this force of wave, it is going to break down. All right, so that's the way in which the wave is broken down, and then you protect your area, land area, from the effect of waves. Now, as I told you earlier also, this concept itself, it is a sort of a theoretical concept. So it is rarely, you cannot say rarely also, it is not there in actual practice, but one can give a thought that, okay, whether this type of concept, whether it can be actually implemented on site or not. So a thought can be given, but more or less it's a theoretical concept. So the third type in this is pneumatic breakwater, in the special type of breakwater. So the assembly, you can assume it to be the same. Now just instead of this overhead water tank, in pneumatic what you have is compressed air. Okay. So if you are using compressed air to break this force of wave, so then it is known as a pneumatic breakwater. So again, the force diagram, it will remain almost the same, that you have a force due to the wave, and then there is a force due to the compressed air. Okay, and which is going to break or interrupt the wave going in horizontal direction, and that is going to break down the wave and then protect your land side from the effect of waves. Okay, so this is all with the types of breakwater. So we'll stop here for today.